Hey guys, Donatello here. I'm currently the rank 1 Wolverine on North American servers, and I've also recently hit top 50 on the global leaderboards. I've been asked countless times on my stream if I already had a Wolverine guide, and today I decided to make one. I'll be covering the abilities, the playstyle, the counters, and some extra tips. If you already know some of these tips or some of these abilities, feel free to click through the video. I'll be putting timestamps to help you guys with this. First off, let's talk about Wolverine's abilities. So Wolverine is really special because he has two unique passives. The first passive is called Regenerative Healing Factor. This passive makes it so that when Wolverine is about to die and goes down to 0 health, he gains a 300 health shields, basically giving him another life. An important thing to note here is that when Wolverine gets thrown off the map or jumps out of the map, his passive will not be deducted. This will be important for later. Note that when proccing this passive, your rage meter goes down to 0. Wolverine's passive is super important in this kit because it helps him play more aggressively when you have it. It has a cooldown of 90 seconds, so you have to be really smart about using it. His second passive is called Berserker's Rage. This is basically the rage meter that you can see in the middle of the screen. Building this rage meter up to 100 gives Wolverine increased damage and also gives more health to Wolverine when he's about to die and procs the first passive we talked about. This passive is also super important because if you engage and have a rage meter of 0, you're going to do a ton less damage than you would if it was stacked to all the way to 100. There's multiple ways of stacking the rage meter that we're going to talk about. Right click gives you 15 stacks. Then your melee attack gives you 10 each. Your shift is going to give you 10 and 0 upon landing. His ultimate also gives 25 rage and 0 upon landing. There's also a lot of ways to maintain this rage. If you get shot at, the rage is going to increase by 5 and it's going to maintain it. Sometimes you want to take damage to maintain that rage because when it goes down quick and you don't want to lose that 100 rage. Note that if you play against any heroes that have a shield, you can shoot this shield and increase your rage meter. Even if it's an Emma shield that she's thrown out super far from her, you can shoot that shield and maintain the rage. That's what I usually do. The more squids also maintain that range. Basically anything that you can shoot can maintain your rage meter, and it's super important to maintain it. So now let's get into his abilities. So his melee attack is really special. Wolverine will slash 4 times consecutively, then waiting and then slashing 4 times again. He takes a brief stop and then slashes 4 times again. Now his right click, Vicious Rampage. This will basically give Wolverine a leap in any direction he's facing while also dealing damage to the target. And when on strike with an enemy, it deals damage, while also boosting his rage, like I said. Note that his right click can be used in between the 4 slashes to cancel the animation and then slashing 4 times once again, like this. This animation cancel is super important and I use it every single time when engaging with Wolverine. So a shift, fair leap, is basically Wolverine's trademark. I think we all know what it does. It's a leap basically that makes Wolverine grab the enemy. If Wolverine doesn't grab an enemy, he'll go flying 20 meters. However, if you grab an enemy, you're going to go about 20 meters. This ability is insanely good to displace the enemy team, and you basically want to focus the tank with this abilities. After landing, Wolverine will unleash a burst of attacks quickly, dealing a tons of damage. Once again, what you want to do, if possible, is have that rage meter up all the way to 100 before using the abilities, and then the quick slash you're going to do after landing is going to do tons of damage. Note that this ability has a really weird hitbox and that you can grab people behind you, in front of you, and also next to you. Even myself sometimes mess up with grabbing people. It is probably the hardest part about Wolverine's kit. What you'll see Wolverine players do a lot is combo his right click with a shift to have a more direct way to grab the enemy. Let's say I'm standing on top of here and a tank walks by. What I'm going to do is right click onto him and then instantly shift. Now his E, or Undying Animal, gives Wolverine basically damage reduction for 5 seconds. This is also super good in Wolverine's kit since he's a melee in a hero shooter game. Giving him damage reductions helps him a ton when he's going to dive in and dive out of enemy team. Now let's talk about Wolverine's ultimate, Last Stand. This ability is probably my favorite in the entire game because of how unique it is. So Wolverine's ultimate will launch the enemies in front of him up in the air, then dragging them into the ground. So basically when casting this ability, you want to launch the people up in the air and then look down at the ground. Otherwise the ability will not work, like this. Let me show you guys if you look too high. You can't. Right now I'm spam clicking and it doesn't work. There's different ways of using the ultimate. You can look down instantly to have a quick burst of damage, but you can also bring the target super far back and displace them from their team again. About another 20 meters. So there's a lot of things you can do with Wolverine as combos. You can jump in, shift, slash your damage, and then bring him back even more. So Wolverine can move a target from 10 meters with his feral leap, and then another 20 with his ultimate. See how far I bring this target? So imagine this with a tank. You can bring this tank into your team, out of the team fight, and just secure a kill with Wolverine. Also note that Wolverine's ultimate will grab anyone in his trajectory into his ultimate. so you can take multiple targets with the ultimate. You can also cast this ability without hitting anyone and then diving onto them. You can also take flyers out of the sky using your ultimate. If you jump, leap, then ultimate, you can bring flyers down. That is another cool thing to do with Wolverine. So you can counter Star-Lord, you can counter the flyers. Even though it's harder, you can still do it. I'll show you guys a few in-game clip of my ultimates and how I like using it. Everyone!
What the fuck? That was bad.
I got everyone.
Can't mind you.
Everyone!
I'm trying to ult.
Everyone!
Nice.
If you want me to be honest. Everyone! Now let's talk about Wolverine's playstyle. The playstyle you want to adopt with Wolverine would be a passive-aggressive playstyle. If that doesn't make sense to you, let me explain it. Since you're a melee character in a hero shooter game, you cannot stand in the open and shoot your gun like any other characters in this game. However, with your damage reduction and your passive, you have almost more sustain than every other single character in the game, and you can tank more damage for longer. That being said, what you want to do with Wolverine is displace the enemy's tank, and of course, if you can, the enemy's backline, while also surviving for the longest amount of time possible. Once again, I'll show you guys a few examples of how I like playing Wolverine.
Future don't matter. We gotta save them all.
Yep, thing. Yo, look, invis, in. Yo, team. Come on.
Alright, shit, Luna. Spider-Man in the back on Luna.
Yeah, thing dies. I'm on Emma, Arthas. Emma dies, nice.
Spider-Man's behind.
I'm walking down here.
Stay on point behind you guys.
It's all good. Here, this guy, Jeff. Nice, bro.
Yeah.
Wait, One, pocket me? I can look for ult here.
I don't know.
You needed some help.
Going up.
Everyone! Massive.
Good shit, Donnie.
Now let's talk about the counters and what Wolverine's really good into. I've seen many people say that Wolverine has a lot of counters, but I think if played correctly, nothing really counters Wolverine. So as for the tanks, if you're playing Wolverine, you will absolutely love playing against a Groot. Since Wolverine does percentage health damage and Groot's the tankiest hero in the game, it kind of makes sense playing it into him. If you have the chance to pick it into him, he is an easy target for you to grab since his hitbox is super big. Now, many people have been saying that the Thing is a counter to Wolverine, but I disagree. If you wait to engage after he's used as shift, which is the ability that counters the movement, he is easily killable. Wolverine cannot grab him with a shift or feral leap, but he can stun him for a brief second, and he has time to inflict a lot of damage, putting him almost down to half HP every single time. Now, the character that just came out, Emma Frost, is kind of the best counter I would say to Wolverine. Emma is also kind of like the Thing, so you have to wait or bait out her metal form before engaging onto her, because she can grab you pretty easily, and I think if she grabs you, you're pretty much dead every single time. Once again, Magneto is another pretty easy pick if you're playing Wolverine, as he only has his bubble, which is about the same cooldown as his shift, but Wolverine has a lot more usage to his bubble than only bubbling himself when you're grabbing him. So when you see Magneto using his bubble on a teammate that's probably flying a Star-Lord or anything else like that, you want to grab him and not the Star-Lord because he doesn't have a bubble, and Magneto's also really immobile and a really slow character. If you get a hold onto him with his feral leap, he's pretty much dead every single time. Now the two tanks I would say would cause trouble to Wolverine are Captain America and Hulk, because they both have insane mobilities with ult jumping around and also Cap doing the same thing. It is hard to get a hold onto them, but it is still doable. It is not a full counter, it is just harder to play against. Like I said, one of the only counters Wolverine has is flyers. So Star-Lord, Torch, Iron Man, and Storm are kind of hard to play Wolverine into. Then there's also Hela and Bucky. Hela because of her range and huge damage, and Bucky because he has a tons of CCs, and he also gets his ultimate refreshed on Wolverine's passive. I think the only support who counters Wolverine is Invisible Woman because she can push and pull Wolverine out of his feral leap, meaning that she can cancel the grab on the enemy team. However, Invisible Woman is also a bad pick into Wolverine because if used properly, you can use your ultimate to get her out of her ultimate and kill her every single time. She's out. Dead.
Nice, good shit, Donnie.
Canceling and nullifying the effect of her ultimate. Now let's talk about some special tips that you guys may know now but maybe didn't know beforehand. Rocket jump back. At the beginning of almost every single game, I will ask for my team to switch to rocket for a second, place down his respawn beacon, and wait for the blue chip or the blue jump pack that you get. Comboed with his Pharaoh Leap, you can use his Pharaoh Leap, grab someone, and then use Rocket's jump back to bring the target even higher and all the way back to your backline every single time, guaranteeing a kill. Then I think this one's maybe unknown to a lot of people, but you can B-hop using Wolverine. So what you're going to want to do is, first off, I would suggest binding your scroll wheel down or up as your jump button. So what you're going to want to do is cancel his Pharaoh Leap or shift with Undying Animal or his E, which is going to look like this. See how much further I go just you doing this? This is the first step. Now when you're going to land, you're going to want to spam your scroll wheel down or up, whatever you bind it to, and you're going to be able to be up. Exactly like this. Once again, I'll show you guys some in-game example of my favorite rollouts on different maps. Try to watch this be up.
Oh, he fucking walled me.
Maybe not one of them.
Dead.
Okay, we're back. Play slow here. We're down 2 still. I don't have an example for in-game for this map, but that's what I usually do here.
Let's end this quick. Got better places to be.
And then I'm right here on tops. Keep in mind that if you want to be up and move quick Wolverine, you have to use almost every single abilities with high cooldowns, meaning that once you join the fight, you have no abilities to fight with. I know I might have said it earlier, but saving Wolverine's passive is probably the most important part about playing him. I would suggest that if you see the fight is completely lost, like it's a 6v1 and you're about to die, just simply jump off the map if you're able to and save that passive, because sometimes dying instantly also helps your team because you're not staggering, since killing Wolverine can take a lot of time with his passive. Now let's talk about pulling people out of the map. I think this is probably Wolverine's funniest interaction with other characters, is that you can push people out of the map using a shift. This trick is super good and useful because it takes down an enemy instantly and even gives you the ult charge that you would get from dealing damage to him. To do this, you need to know almost every spot on the map when there's an opening and where you can throw people out of the map. Wolverine will drop off the target at the very end of his arm when you grab them. That being said, if you land at the very edge of the map, the target will fall and you won't. I hope that covers almost everything about Wolverine. If there's anything I missed by chance, please let me know in the comments. If you have any questions, let me know also. I'll try to answer every single one of them. Also, please keep in mind that I'm streaming every single day over at twitch.tv/LolDonatello. So if you want to watch the rank 1 Wolverine, I'm probably live right now. The link is going to be in the bio. Peace out, guys.